So I came in August of this year from the West Coast, and I was looking forward to all the historical sites and all the different things that we have that are available here in the National Capital Region. And an opportunity came all of a sudden to go to Arlington National Cemetery, and I jumped on it.
The intent for today was to capture the Army National Guard and the Air National Guard's lineage as it relates to Arlington National Cemetery. And furthermore, what we really did was we identified our veterans that are honored and laid to rest in World War I, as well as some of our participants and our heroes from OIF and OEF.
So my expectation coming into this staff ride was kind of unknown. I wasn't really sure what I was kind of walking into, but it turned out to be a fantastic experience. Got to visit the Arlington National Cemetery, got to see a lot of history and a lot of ties, how it roots back to the Army National Guard.
For a person who's a foreigner, I don't really have that much knowledge of the history, not only of the National Guard, but also memorable things like that. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the National Guard history and a lot about the soldiers that passed.
I also was looking forward to going to Section 60 and just learning about the sections with the African American soldiers.
To kind of see all the 54, all the soldiers who gave their lives. And to be buried at Arlington National Cemetery was a very unique experience.
I think the most poignant piece was our tour guide, Mr. Gaynor. There's so many headstones there, and he has so many that he's got memorized, and some of the histories there. That really set it home for me. Being a person who enjoys the history, and especially military history, it was really neat and an effective approach to go on the staff ride. At the end, finding out more about those soldiers and airmen from the National Guard that or interred there at Arlington, I think was a very good opportunity for us to really put home that not just all these people interred and laid to rest here, but some that we probably even know. And in our group, there was some that knew very personally a couple of the people that they looked at.
So I am an Arkansas Guardsman. I researched Sergeant First Class John G. Brown. He joined the Arkansas Army National Guard in 1995. He was placed at Bravo Company, 1st of 185th Aviation. And that's where he deployed, and he went home on leave and returned January the 13th from leave. And his very first day back on duty, January 20, 2007, is when his helicopter was shot down. And he left behind a wife and 2 stepdaughters.
I had the pleasure and opportunity to research a soldier, Sergeant Robert Allen Wise, who passed away in 2003, unfortunately from an IED attack while he was in Iraq. He was with the 3 of the 124th 53rd Infantry Brigade, and he was a very unique individual from those that knew him. Very positive individual, could always make people laugh. Just was kind of the light of the room. He was an E4 and posthumously promoted as a sergeant after his death, and it just speaks the world of him and what his sacrifice was to the state and to this country.
Listen to everyone out there talking about the soldiers they researched. It absolutely was personal. I knew Sergeant Brown. Everyone called him Gary. He always had a great smile, but listen to some of the others who actually were friends with the soldiers they researched, and it was very touching, and it made it real. You know, not just being out there in the cemetery, seeing, all the different tombstones, but to know that those people that, that we know and someone that we don't know are out here, and they have families who love them, and, we definitely want to keep their name and their legacy alive.
I've visited the cemetery before, and I looked at the graves in a different way. I looked at them as just graves, But today, after we sat there and we learned about certain soldiers, the one that we researched, I just realized that there is a story, there is a life there. And it's something that usually we don't think about. We just go and we pay our respect and, stuff like that. But to actually hear who they were, it just touches you on a different level.
So we had an opportunity to stop by Section 18 and the Argonne Cross and talk about some of the soldiers who fell during the National Guard's most famous battles, the 2nd Marne, Phoemes, the Meuse-Argonne Offensive, Seicheprey, Jolgon, all the different locations where soldiers from across the Army National Guard served in 1918 and gave their lives in battle. And despite the fact that they fell in France fighting in World War I, they were all brought back here to the United States and reinterred on this ground in Arlington. And only a few sections away are those in Section 60 who fell serving in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria, again carrying on the same tradition that their fore-bearers had, serving as part of the Army National Guard in combat.
And it kind of ties in what the Army National Guard has contributed in the past and how we contribute to this day. It's almost so you can compare them side by side to what kind of efforts and contributions we make to the war effort as warfighters and supporters to the warfighters.
So there's some really invaluable connections between World War I, OIF, and OEF. One of the things that was brought up by both the curator and our team lead is how similar the connections are with the reality of bringing that back to the hometown, meaning during World War I we brought our soldiers, and they were from all over the United States, but they all represented a particular state that identified and had a personal connection with their hometown. And as we see it here, as we transpire into OIF and OEF, we see that that unique connection so vastly across the spectrum, where we're really taking part to dig in and honor our hometown heroes.
All the soldiers that have passed and gave their lives going through Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, they have the same connection, they have the same honor and valor and bravery that those same soldiers did in the Argonne Cross.
We need to make a connection with the heroes that have come before us, identifying the lineage that lies in front of us and how we've gotten to where we've gotten. But even more so is being able to make those personal connections. And I look forward to learning more from the soldiers and airmen around me that serve with me and by me, and being able to make those connections from their states, from my state, and back to the Title X program.